honestly, I have never been a believer in this whole 100 days, 120 day thing, honestly speaking, because I mean, sometimes I think our politics just saddle us with certain things that we just have to deal with it anyway. Because I don't see what you are going to be able to do in 100 days. And that's why in the past 1 week, you see the government running to launch, you know, just to tick the boxes. It's just to come and say that I've done 80%, 90%.
You know what they will say, and what's funny on the other side? Is that in your final days, you also rush to inaugurate and to commission.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's at least you are commissioning. You know, you are not launching. But if you have, for example, if you have in your 120-day social contract that call for a national education consultative meeting, I mean, really, that's something that you can do in 2 hours and still take. So I really, you know, but I think that in the last 120 days, the reality, not these theories, the reality is that we've been saddled with a group of people who have been disturbing our ears with lamentations and complaints. Almost all of them. It's as if the government came into office without a plan, without a strategy. It's almost beginning to look as if all the things they were saying, which was giving the Ghanaian people hope, that they were going to, or they were an alternative, or they had alternative solutions to some of our challenges, were just rhetorics. And that they really didn't have any concrete plan. So you listen to the cocoa board CEO, who is moving from one cocoa farm to the other with this leather chair. And the farmers tell him that you promised that specifically, that cocoa should be 6,000 per, you know, and it shouldn't be 3,000. Why haven't you done it? And then he says, you know, since we came, we realized that there's a lot of mess in cocoa board, and the way cocoa board is a mess, it will be difficult for us to increase. So what was the indicators based on which you made that promise? It's a big worry. So I've been, in the past week, playing videos of the energy minister, what he said when he was ranking member, and what he's saying now as minister. And sometimes I feel very sad for him, because you listen to him and it's like he's debating himself. He's disagreeing with himself. Things that he said. Today, he's fighting those same things and saying that those things are not true, they cannot be right. And you ask yourself, but who are you disagreeing with? And you realize it's himself.
But now he's in power, and so he has a better appreciation of the prevailing conditions.
And that is an indication of what we should expect. That, for me, is my assessment of the 120-day period. That tells you that the government didn't come into office with a plan. They came into office on the back of lies, promises that they believed were going to sound nice in the ears of the voter, just to get the votes. Now you are struck with reality. And so in the past 120 days, at best, what I think they would have been doing would be to adjust to the reality of the day and now look out for ways to deal with the situation. I mean, I hear council say, we have decided to give ourselves 75. And I'm asking, how do you decide? You don't decide to give yourself marks or score. You don't take that decision.
You can't be judged and jury.
No, even those who will be doing their assessment, they will not decide to. It will be based on what you have done. And I look at some of the things, and you realize that the tangibles have not been done. If you look at it critically, and I'm not saying this, I mean, there are so many things I could hold the NDC on, but facts is what I'm stating. The things that would really push us, they have not been fulfilled. And you know why? Those things are difficult for you to do in 100 days, 120 days. So let's launch this. That has been done. Let's launch a Jumeirah. If you launch a Jumeirah, that is nothing. Okay, even as you did the launching, nobody knows where the funding is, whether the money is sitting down. Nobody knows. Let's launch 1 million coders. You can do it. So launch. Commence the development or commence the drafting of a policy for 24-hour economy. Really. How do we even know if you have commenced or not? You understand? You say you have, but you may probably not even have done it. We won't know. So I don't really think that we should really place, because if I look at it, first of all, the promise is actually 25, not 26 and not 24. The numbering, I think they got it wrong when they were doing it. So when you check, it's 24. And you realize that 25, right? And you realize that the number they have fulfilled are 11. 11 of those 25 promises are what they have fulfilled. And this is based on what they have written verbatim, not any dancing around. You say you will launch. Have you launched or not?
Okay.
You understand? You say you will implement stress-free fees. You didn't say you will launch stress-free fees. So if as of today, no Ghanaian first-year student has received stress-free fee, you can't tell me you have fulfilled it. You have launched it, but you said you will
schools were already in session when they
No, but you said you will do it in this academic year. That was the promise. And then when the minister was asked, he said they will refund. Have you refunded? So if school was in session, it means that you haven't done it.
Right.
Don't come and tell us that because you have gone to launch it. You said you will implement. And maybe I may be wrong, but English is quite clear. Implement and launch are two different things. So they have actually implemented or fulfilled 11, which gives them 44%. They have not fulfilled 12, which is 48%. And then partially fulfilled are 2. You see, if you have a line item in your contract that says you would abolish e-levy, emission tax, and COVID levy, and you leave COVID levy, it's partial fulfillment.
They said they will do it in the next
budget. But you haven't done it. Nobody knows whether you do it or not.
Right.
So it's partial fulfillment. You can't give yourself absolute, fulfillment. So we have done our own assessment. You can't, of course, when we are doing appraisal, sometimes you do your self-appraisal and then you go and meet your superior and then you do your, you balance it out. He will ask you, do you agree with this or, but really, the fulfilled are 11 and we can go through it if we have time, 44%. Partially fulfilled, 2, which is 8%. And then the proportion not fulfilled are 12, which is 48%. Honestly speaking, these numbers really mean nothing. You know why? Because if you say you would set up a lean government and you name the least number of ministers, the essence of the lean government is to cut costs in running government. And then you end up doubling and tripling the cost of running government against the previous government. You haven't done anything to us. So you have increased the budget for running office of government machinery from about 800 million to 2.7 billion. So if you have the smallest, even if you have 4 people as your ministers, and you are spending more on them, it really doesn't change much. Let me also tell you another thing about
other agencies have been brought into the office of government machinery. So budgets that they would have received as independent agents are no longer existent.
Perfect. So don't. So I agree. So if you merge ministries, okay, and you come and tell me you are lean, when indeed in the numbers you are more, I agree with you. There's no dispute.
That will reduce the cost.
No, it doesn't. That is why you are spending more. It doesn't. That's why you are spending more. I'll give you a quick example. You see, sometimes we need to be real with the issues. Ministry for Information has ISD, has Ghana
GBC.
Publishing, GBC, all those things. Now you come to office and you say, I don't have a minister for information. I have a minister for government communication. So you create an impression as if you have scrapped a certain ministry. But in actual sense, the cost burden on the Ghanaian people when it comes to the previous Ministry of Information hasn't left because the ISD staff have not been fired. The publishing, GBC, the Ministry for Information staff itself, none of them have been fired. So that cost still remains. What you have done at best is that one person who was the Minister for Information, his cost is what you have removed. But if you analyze it and you really run the numbers, you'd realize that it's of no effect. Because most of these ministries you said you've merged, the ministers were members of parliament. The difference between a member of parliament's income and that of an MP who is a minister was just about 2,000, 2,500 cedis. So in realism, you realize that you haven't done much. That is why I keep telling you that when you pick the budget and you look at the cost of running this government that is supposed to be lean, then you understand that it's of no effects or positive consequence on the people. That is fact. It is the numbers. What you have done is that for the optics, you are counting less. But in terms of the amount you are spending on them, it is even same or more. And sometimes we shouldn't just deceive ourselves in that manner. It doesn't do us any good at all. I'm not one of those people that argue that, they've done some appointment behind the doors. Every government does those appointments, the committees and the staffers and all those things. But the facts of the matter is we should stop doing politics with these ministerial appointments then. So long as we continue to appoint ministers, majority of ministers from parliament, we really are not doing much if you merge ministries. The only time you'll be making any difference and that with a positive number impact on the country is when you actually fire the staff of that particular ministry you claim you have merged. But so long as those ministries exist, really you haven't done much.
Well.
I think that what we are looking for are the actuals on the ground. Fix Dumsor. We have slept in Dumsor for 4 months, 4 out of 4. It's a worrying situation. We shouldn't do politics with it. Fix it. Just give us stable power.
Isn't it out of as a result of the state in which you left the energy
As
sector?
at the time we're handing power, we're in that state. Did you have Dumsor?
Yes, we did.
Oh, in 8 years, we had energy crisis for 8 weeks. In 8 years, we had energy crisis for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
That is fact. As at the time we're handing our power to you, we didn't have any energy crisis in this country. We didn't have Dumsor. I haven't had power in my neighborhood for 3 days. Okay, I never experienced it in 8 years. So it's okay because you are very comfortable to come and sit on TV and say, oh, it's the same. It was there. The people who are experiencing it know,
They know
that the kind of Dumsor that the Ashanti region are experiencing is unbearable. Go to the industrial area. Some of the factories are beginning to run, a lean stuff because they can't have power. So what good is it to us if you remove 1% e-levy and you can't give us power? Even at the time when you cannot give us the power, you have increased it by 14%. So think about it. E-levy is by choice.
Yeah.
I can decide to work and go and give my money to engineer.
Yeah.
But for electricity,
You have to pay.
you have to pay.
Once you're consuming.
Once you are consuming.
Yeah.
And so you remove 1% e-levy and say, oh, clap for us. We've done well. We are going to use this to reduce hardship and make doing business easy. Then you come and increase electricity by 14%. So these things are things that we need to highlight.
Right.
And get the government to say, listen, we need you to fix these things. I mean, when it comes to these things, I don't do politics with it because it affects everybody. All of us, we are all doing businesses. And when this thing goes down, we are all happy. Like I've seen the dollar and the CD. Yeah. I am excited because honestly speaking, if the dollar comes to 5 cedis, I am happy. The NDC will go to opposition in 2028 not because of the dollar. They are incompetent in so many other areas. So if they can
prices are also going down.
can fix Dumsor and fix the dollar for us, we'll be happy. We won't say, oh, if they do it, no. There's so many ways that will knock them out of government.
Thank you, Dennis.